So yes, for those of you who didn't meet me yesterday, my name is Mark Bates. I work at Gopher Guides as a consultant, as a trainer for Go. I'm also the original person behind Buffalo, and it is not actually Go Buffalo, it's just Buffalo. A common misperception and a slight in the city of Buffalo, New York, who gets very, very upset. And we're in the middle of a lawsuit over whether that would be awesome though, wouldn't it? Imagine like a whole city suing you because you named your web framework after them. So yeah, and again, beautiful Ashley McNamara logo. Your project ain't worth a damn unless you got an Ashley McNamara logo. That is the seal of approval that you're doing something good for the Go community. She takes some time and draws up these beautiful logos. So hopefully you had a chance to get a sticker. So today, what I want to talk about is the what and the why of Buffalo, because it's a question people have asked me quite a bit since I first announced Buffalo on Go Time at the beginning of the year. And then we'll do a little demo, because who doesn't love live coding? Because nothing ever goes wrong when we live code a demo at a conference. Those of you who want laughing have never live coded a demo at a conference, because literally everything goes wrong. So before I do that, I want to talk about web development in Go. And this actually, I think, ties in a little bit with some of the sentiment we've heard today, particularly about Brian's talk earlier. When you have a great keynote presenter, they really set up the tone for the day and hopefully let the other speakers kind of draw from that. Unfortunately, we had Brian, so I will do my best. But I think there was some little pieces in there that I think he said that were really, really good. When you come to the Go community for the first time, and you say something, you go to, God help you, you go to Reddit, or one of those kind of avenues, and you say, how do I build a web application in Go? You will almost always be confronted with this statement. Just use the standard library. Who here has heard that statement? Almost the entire room. Yeah, okay. I hate this statement with a passion. I think it's a giant middle finger to newcomers. I think it's saying RTFM, and it's like, but I don't know the standard library. I'm here asking you, how do I do this? And you're telling me, just figure it out for yourself. The standard library is a set of building blocks, and it's meant to be used to build something bigger. That, by the way, is the largest Lego model in the world. It is a life-size X-Wing fighter. It is insanely cool. It is on display in Legoland in California. That's my oldest son a couple years ago. He was very excited to see it. But imagine that. If you watch the Brickumentary movie, they actually talk about the building of this thing. It's fascinating. But standard libraries are building blocks. And honestly, almost every language standard library has what you need to build a web application. The Ruby standard library certainly does. You don't see me building applications using that. I use Rails. Python certainly does. You use Django. Java certainly does. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. In theory, give me a socket and string manipulation, and I can build you a web application. It won't be pretty, but it'll be fast. Holy crap, will it be fast? So, I mean, why should you, right? Like I said, if I'm in Ruby, why wouldn't I use Rails? There are reasons to use the standard library in Go to build your web application. I'm not going to lie to you and say that there aren't. There most certainly are. If you're building a very simple little JSON API with a couple handfuls of methods, no need for something bigger than that, right? Whip up a main.go file, put your couple handlers in there, move on, the thing's going to be lightning fast. You're doing little internal service communications, whatever. You're Google. Right? No one in here is Google. I just want to say that right now. Like, no one's doing Netflix level traffic, right? We're all trying to get our startups off the ground, trying to launch something, right? Whether we take 2 milliseconds to return a response or 3 milliseconds to return a response, that's not where our problem lies. Our problem actually lies in developer time, in developer productivity, and our get-to-market strategy. Web apps are not simple. They're not. Who here has built an actual real web application? Like everybody. They are not. Like, these are some of the things you need to think about when building a web application. So when someone says use the standard library, You say, oh, okay, the standard library's probably got all this stuff covered for me, sweet. Okay, let's start with a router. Oh, I found the default servmux, fantastic. Right now, I can get a GET request going, fantastic. I need to do a POST request. Oh, wait, now I have to write an if statement. Well, that's no fun. Okay, I'll do that, but now I gotta do a delete, bugger. Now I've got a case statement in there somewhere, right? And it starts going on and snowballing. Well, I want to pull some stuff out of the URL. Well, you really can't do that. So you've instantly lost the standard library because now you're using GorillaMux. And then the list goes down, right? Like you just start going down this list, but you don't know to use GorillaMux. So now you're back on Reddit. I need to write it. Just use the standard library. Well, go screw you too. Like, that's just not useful. That is not how we operate. So imagine you are new to Go. A lot of people here are. And you're told use the standard library. You start hunting for these things. I have talked to people. I've taught people. I've talked to people. I go to conferences. I go to user groups. And they always say the same thing to me when they try to build a website in Go for the very first time. It is scary. It is daunting. And it is unwelcoming. These are actual quotes from real-life human beings. I didn't just put them up here, and they're not just from my kids when I want to say, can I read you a bedtime story? No, I kid. I like to wear a scary mask, Pennywise mask. But what happens is these people come, and they get to use the standard library quote, and then they start looking, and they start feeling this way, and you know what? Like that, poof. We never see them again. This was my standard response to, how do I build a web application, Mark? Just use Rails. That's sad, because I've been a Gopher for a long time now, about 4 years. I preach Go. I've been to every Gopher conference that I could possibly attend. I've spoken at them. I host them. I organize them. I have done all sorts of great stuff with Go, but when somebody asked me in December of last year, what would you use to build a web application, I would say just use Rails, because it's about developer productivity, about getting to market faster, because that's what we're all ultimately trying to do. Thankfully, we don't have to use Rails anymore. We can use Buffalo, if not for this great, awesome logo. Who here got a Buffalo sticker on their way in? Awesome. If you didn't come see me, I might have a few left. Seriously, like just a few things go pretty quick. Yeah. What is Buffalo? Buffalo is an ecosystem for building rapid web applications in Go. That term is coined by Bill Kennedy, who told me, it's not a framework, it's an ecosystem. It's like, that is some good marketing shit. When you sit down and create your Buffalo application, we got you covered. We do all this for you. We got it all covered. We want you to just start coding. That is the point of Buffalo. That is the point of Rails. If you just start coding, drop in, start writing your business logic. It's important to know Buffalo is extracted and not imagined framework. There are several frameworks in the Go universe, the Go ecosystem, that are very much so imagined frameworks. This is how I think you should build web apps in Go. Well, do you build web apps in Go? No, but this is how I think it should be done. There are several packages in the standard library that also have the same look and feel, but they're not. This is extracted. This is years of me pulling these patterns out of applications I've built in Go, finding these packages that I think are great. Buffalo uses the GorillaMux router. It's there. We use a lot of the Gorilla packages, cookies, sessions, all sorts of fun stuff. We try to find the best templating languages. We try to find the best data packers and the stuff that's going to work best for you and make your life easier. So Buffalo has two goals. The first one, I'll admit, is very selfish. Very, very selfish. It's not to make me a millionaire, so let me write applications and Go as fast as I can in Rails. That's it. Like, that is my ultimate goal here. Because I build a lot of applications. I build a lot of applications for myself, for clients, for the businesses I run. I just need to get shit done. I can't spend days just gluing together things. Well, how do I do a layout using the standard library templating package? Well, you really can't. You have to kind of roll all that your own, you know, and the list goes down the line. The second goal, the more altruistic goal, if you will, because I like using that phrase, is to make Go more accessible. I want everybody to write Go. I think Go is a great language. I think it's fun. I think we've seen it today, right? It's a small language, but a very, very powerful language. It solves all the problems we had in other statically typed compiled languages. You know, fast compile times, right? Less code, idiomatic code, simple code, straightforward code. We get these beautiful interfaces, and we get concurrency, and we get it all lickety-split. If you've ever compiled, even a complex Go application takes a couple seconds to compile, versus back in my day, compiling a Java app that could take upwards of an hour, depending on how complex it is. You get this instant feedback. We are solving a lot of these problems. You get the cross-compatibility. For example, with Buffalo, you know, I can take and bundle my entire Buffalo application, templates, assets, migrations, into a single binary on my Mac in Windows format and give it to my mother who does not have Go installed. She can double click it and run a web application on her machine. That's pretty cool. That is powerful. I want everybody writing Go because I think it is awesome. And the more accessible we can make Go, the friendlier we can make Go, get people to get those first wins, we can grow the community. We get a bigger community. Bigger community means more jobs, right? It means less not writing Go, right? If there are bigger communities, there are more jobs, that means you no longer have to go to your day job where you're not writing Go. You can find a job that lets you write Go. I know people who still write things like Cold Fusion. And that's no slight on Cold Fusion, well, a little bit, but it's no slight on Cold Fusion. But you know, I mean, there are people who still write that because maybe that's all they know, and they really can't get out of it. Well, we want to get them out of it. We want to get them moving to the 21st century. You know, what better way to grow a community than through web dev? Because whether you're doing PHP, Java, Go, Ruby, Python, .NET, everybody's writing web applications. From small one-person startups, mom and pop shops, as I like to call them, to mega corporations, right? Everybody has a web application. Everybody. Everybody, there's so many of them out there. What better way to pull these people into our community and show them the power? Because you know, not everybody is writing infrastructure. Not everybody's writing a Kubernetes system. That's just like, that's cool, and that's an awesome use case of Go. But not everybody's writing that. A lot of people are writing applications where they have a form and they need to persist it to a database and then they need to render some HTML with some more stuff on it. Like, a lot of us are doing that. So why don't we give that to them? So, with that, should the demo gods allow, I'm gonna do a little demo time here. So this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be a disaster. But hopefully you'll all smile and laugh and go, ha ha. Okay, you can all see my screen. Fantastic. So, I'm going to start off with a very simple typo. And there we go. Y'all can see my screen? Yeah. Fantastic. I'm not going to go through like installation of Buffalo. It's like go get, kind of just like all other stuff. There's go to gobuffalo.io and you can see all that stuff. But your first entry point into the Buffalo world is the Buffalo command, which gives us a whole bunch of really fun stuff, most of which we're not going to be able to cover today. The first we're going to look at is new, which is going to create a brand new Buffalo application. Buffalo loves to generate code that you own. So we're not going to, once we generate a piece of code, that's it. Like, it's up to you to then tweak it, modify it, check it in. There's no regeneration of these code pieces, right? It's just, here's some skeleton stuff, we'll get you going. Here's some stuff, we got a console, we have a REPL. That's kind of cool. Dev mode, which is going to start our application up. It's going to watch our Go binary. It's going to watch our Go files. It's going to rebuild your application under the covers, so you don't have to do that. You just reload your browser, and there's the changes. Fantastic. Bunch of generators, help, new, setup is kind of cool. It'll do things like create databases and run your migrations and stuff like that for you. We deal with migrations and your database needs and tasks. You can run these little grift tasks, which anybody here from the Ruby world? A couple people. They are rake tasks, but in Ruby, rake tasks in Go. So small little things like DBC. We'll look at that in just a minute. Tests will run all your tests, and it'll skip your vendor folder and all that pretty stuff. So, should the internet gods hold true, let's run the Buffalo new command here. And this is going to generate a whole bunch of stuff. It's also going to generate an asset pipeline for you. So by default, you can turn that off. A lot of the stuff you can configure and turn off, whatever. This is the default configuration. You set up Webpack, ES6, transpilation, and jQuery built in, and jQuery UJS, and Bootstrap, and a couple other things, like all set up, ready to go, out of the box. Don't need to worry about anything. We got your back here. It's going to set up a bunch of stuff. There we go. We have built our Buffalo application, so we can go into it here. You can see we've generated a whole bunch of stuff here. Won't really go too much into it. We try to help you out here. We've got a bunch of folders where we think you should put things. Well, you know, why not? Our actions, these are our handlers that are going to handle our web requests. Our assets, this is where our JavaScript and SCSS files, because it's configured for that, and stuff like images and other assets go. Database YAML, configuring the YAML, grifts, those tasks, locales. We just introduced internationalization support, so that's in there. Models, this is where your database models or other model type code would go. Node modules, public folder, that's where all your assets get compiled to. And then finally your templates, which are, well, they're your templates for like HTML and the like. So let's start this up here. I'm going to run the Buffalo dev command, and it's going to do a bunch of stuff. It's going to compile our binary, watch our Go files, start up Webpack. And Webpack will watch all your assets for changes, recompile them automatically, and fingers crossed, oh, the database doesn't exist. That makes sense. So let's create the database here. Buffalo DB create -all. This just created 3 Postgres databases for me based on what's in my database YAML. Your mileage may vary if the usernames don't match or the Postgres isn't running, which you'd be surprised how often it comes up an issue. Postgres isn't running. Why did you start it on my machine? Because I don't have sysadmin access to your machine. We support Postgres, MySQL, SQLite. If you don't want to use any of those things, you can just skip that as part of the new generation and bring in Mongo or whatever. But anyway, now we have databases here, so we can do Buffalo dev, and Webpack is watching, and Buffalo is watching. Huzzah! There we go. It was a little bit bigger than we wanted. Oh, this is the landing page here. Some really kind of cool things already on this landing page. The welcome to Buffalo EN is actually being driven by internationalization. We also have a routing table here that shows you what routes are being mapped where. So get mapped to /path has a name of route path. We can use that in our templates to get the route path, for example. Maps to the home handler and the actions package, blah, 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 which is kind of cool. So for the sake of demo time, we're going to generate a resource called posts. This is a blog after all. And that's going to have a title, which is a type of a string, and it's going to have a body, which is of a text type, you know, so big text blob. There we go. So when we run that, we're going to generate our actions for CRUD, for resource, RESTful resource, YAML file if we want to have any sort of post-specific messaging, a bunch of HTML templates, models, and some migrations. So we can run Buffalo DB migrate. There we go. And if we refresh our browser, notice I didn't rebuild the Go binary here, but all of this is now showing up. You can see we've got all of these post actions now. And again, it's telling you where you can find all of these in your code. so you know what is responsible for handling each of these paths here. And if I go to /posts, okay, I can create a new post, hello capital Go, that's you. And I can say, I don't know, hello world, I'm terrible at this. Click save, huzzah! We got flash messaging, we've got it showing up there, we've got validations that were inferred by what you typed in when you generated the resource. Title can't be blank. We can go on and on, right? Cancel, are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. Do you want to destroy it? Yeah, I want to destroy it. Okay, there we go, it's gone. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Like within seconds, I got a scaffold up and running, and it's a scaffold I own. All that code is actually on disk, and it's meant for me to tweak. It's meant for me to work with, but it's just kind of meant to get you going in the right direction. So let's, before we run out of time, we can open up Vim here, and let's add a little seed task to generate a post into our database, so when another developer checks out the project, we can seed some data in there. The first thing we can do is we'll create a new post here, models post, which has, we said had a title, right? Hello. And the body, goodbye. I know. We'll get the DB connection from our models package, and we will create that post. We will return the error from that. There we go. So I can now run buffalo task db seed. That's going to insert a post into our database. These tasks, by the way, are fantastic for like loading in a log file and doing some work with it, or taking a CSV file and generating a bunch of stuff in the database, or doing whatever you want. We generate one for you as an example that shows you the routes in the command line, for example. It's kind of silly, but it's there. It's kind of cool. You can see what you're doing here. So if we go back to our application, there's our thing there. How much time do I got?
About 2 minutes.
About 2 minutes? Okay.
Well, actually, no, you got longer. You got about 5 minutes.
I got about 5 minutes. Okay. We're going to do something a little, I don't know. Let's open up one of these files here. It's the index file. And I'm going to add the created at timestamp. So when you create a new model, it gets a timestamp that is created at. And we'll put a little TD in here. Oops. So this is using the plush templating language. There we go. Plush templating language, which if you haven't seen, it is pretty amazing. If I must say so myself. I did write it. Okay, so there we go. We've got a timestamp in our view, but it's terrible. It's fugly, I'm not gonna lie. Does anybody still use the word fugly? No, just me. Okay, awesome. So I will ftime. I'm going to format the time. I'm going to create a little function here that takes a time and returns a string. Seems like something you'd want to do. And we'll say return t format, and I'm going to use the Ruby date format because I'm lazy. All right, and then in my view, here I can just call that function, what do I call it, ftime. And these views, you can really do all sorts of complicated stuff, like you see we're building path routing and stuff like that. If you've ever used something like ERB, this will all seem incredibly familiar to you. Look at that. And now the mic drop moment, the last thing I'm going to show you today here. The thing that I think really makes Buffalo amazing. I can do Buffalo build. What's funny is I actually have Buffalo Bill as an alias. Because I can't tell you how many times I have typed Buffalo Bill. So it ran Webpack. It then generated a Go binary. If you can see at the top of the screen, It did a couple things. This project isn't checked into GitHub or into Git, so it didn't know what to use for a version, so it used the current timestamp. But if you have a Git app, it'll actually look at the SHA that you're building with and burn that into the binary that it's generating, as well as the current build time. So if I take and move, let's see here, move bin blog to my, oops, where did it go to? Tree, bin, yeah, okay. Oh, I didn't tell it where to move it to. You're all supposed to be helping me. Honest to God. So I'm just gonna move it outside this project here. I'm gonna do something you should almost never do. Well, first I'm gonna make sure I've stopped it before I do this here. All right, it's not running anywhere. Yep. Blog. I'm deleting all the source code. Nothing up my sleeves. I swear to you. I'm then going to go to my desktop. There we go. You can see the blog binary there. I can ask it, hey, what's your version? It's going to tell me I was just built. All right. I'm going to run this in production mode here. I've already created a database. Remember, I created all three databases: test, production, and development. So by using env variable here, I can tell it to migrate my database, my production database. I can tell it to run my DBC task. Oh, if I spell it right. I run my DBC task. And now finally, start my application up. Now remember, I deleted everything on disk. Look at that. Create a new post. You can try and save it. Validations. Notice all of my assets are there. My JavaScript, my CSS, my migrations, everything inside that binary, ready to be deployed to literally anywhere. That's it. That's Buffalo. Oh, you need my little thing? No. My answer questions?
There's a question.
I have a question. Yeah, question.
So this looks
Thank you.
why should we use this as opposed to, say,
Why should you use this over Rebel? The reason is this is, for starters, end-to-end. I think I showed you everything from the asset pipeline, literally all the way through. So if you're looking for something that you can just start writing business logic on, this is where you go. If I didn't delete the source code, you'd also see just how incredibly easy these handlers are to write. They take one argument, they return an error. And it's super, we've got lots of interfaces that you can easily extend for rendering, all sorts of different types of stuff. So it's clean, it's simple, you don't have to learn a big different pattern. You don't have to learn meta language for configuration like Rebel does. Like, it's all Go, it's all generated, easy to use, and full end-to-end. It's meant to just start code. Yeah.
So if you had like an Angular 2 app, which has a bunch of like front end assets, would this work just as well with that?
Absolutely. Put them all into your asset pipeline there, and it's all configured. You got require and include for CSS and all that sort of stuff. And you can compile it all together and spit everything out into a big file. It does minification, production. When you build a binary, it actually minifies everything. Yeah, it's all set, ready to go.
Awesome.
Definitely. Yeah.
So when you installed it, at the beginning it pulled a bunch of stuff.
Mhm.
Installed version automatically or what?
No, you've got to bring Git or SVN to it, whatever you want to use for. Or are you talking about vendor? Or are you talking about vendor?
Yeah, when it pulled up, when it downloaded a bunch of stuff, when the pack and all those things.
Yeah, well that was all NPM stuff, so it creates a package JSON file and stuff. But right now we're leaving it up to you to bring your own Go vendoring solution because the community is so fragmented, and we don't want to get in the middle of that right now. When DEP goes 1.0, we'll be shipping DEP automatically. Yeah.
This is going to be independent of the Gopher Guides, right?
It's completely independent of it. Yeah, this is for building either JSON APIs or full web applications. Yeah, not for microservices. Like, it's not really for it.
Do you know anybody that's already built like CMS stacks or anything like that?
Brian Kettleson loves to use Ponzo. Ponzo, is it Ponzo? Ponzo? Ponzo with it, which is a CMS system, and then he uses that to plug into, I think like GopherCon, for example, uses that. So GopherCon website is all built in Buffalo, and he's using Ponzo to drive the content, the CMS content dynamically from that side. Yeah?
Maybe an obvious question, but I'm new to this. So are you saving this, like, the content CMS style, where you're saving the actual content that is posted in the database rather than, you know, how are you?
Yeah, this is talking Postgres. We didn't get a chance to even really talk about the, I mean, we didn't really look at a whole lot of code, really. But yeah, this is actually, if we looked at the generated code, the opening up Vim, I deleted all the code. What are you doing, man? Get out of here. You're supposed to type hashtag pooping into Twitter. Yeah, we generated the tables in Postgres, and we're writing data to and from Postgres standard way. You know, we're using an ORM called POP to do it, but you can, if you don't like POP, you can bring your own to do it. But yeah. Question in the back.
What can you do with Buffalo Soda?
What can you do with Buffalo Soda? That is a weird artifact of the Cobra package. So Soda is actually a command line tool that goes with POP.
Okay.
So POP, Soda, and the migration form, which you can see is called Fizz, which allows us to write migrations for SQL-like Postgres and MySQL in a common format, much like active record migrations. But yeah, it's supposed to show up as Buffalo DB, but yeah, whatchamacallit, Cobra has some weird naming issues that doesn't let you necessarily do that. Yeah.
Does it implement HTTP2 server push and some of the newer Go features yet?
It does not yet implement server push. We do have, I believe there's an issue open for it to figure out how best to do it. But yeah, we don't want to just throw things in there willy-nilly. We want to make sure that they're done.
But you're accepting PRs.
What was that?
But you're accepting
I
PRs.
totally accept PRs. I love PRs. There's some awesome people working on this already, and documentation is always the best PR. If you're ever looking for a place to start on any project ever, documentation, especially getting started documentation, because if you've never used it, you're in the best possible spot to say, this is where I stumbled, this is how you fix it. Do we have time for any more? One more, right there.
So you said that, you know, it sounds like you use Ruby on Rails and Django. Like, does this stuff, do you write your own conventions? Does it draw from other frameworks, or do you have your own kind of snowflakey stuff?
It draws from a lot of, I mean, if you're familiar with Rails, you're gonna feel quite familiar with Buffalo. However, you know, I mean, this is a Go application, so we're trying to keep things as Go-y as possible, but without, you know, I believe in easier to use APIs, even if they cost a little bit more, especially on the web side, because I'm seeing 2 to 5 millisecond response times versus 200 to 500 milliseconds in Ruby. So for me, if I create a little extra garbage or it's a little slower to get a nicer API, my network latency and my talking to Postgres is more than what Go is going to throw on top of it.
All right. Thank you, Mark.
That's really good.